Hi, and welcome to Gurvy Travel's travel series. I'm Gurvinder Ravery, owner of Gurvy Travel. During this pause in travel and the entire industry in a whole, I have the pleasure of connecting with some of my travel partners. Today, I have the pleasure of chatting with Crystal Bethel,
Hi, everyone.
hi, the sales and marketing coordinator of Bahamas Ministry of Tourism and Aviation. So welcome, Crystal.
Hi, well, thank you for having me. I am actually for the Northeast region, the marketing coordinator for this region.
Excellent. Well, welcome. Can you tell us a little bit? I know you just mentioned a little bit about what region you're in, but a little bit about what you do and for the Tourism Bureau and so forth?
Absolutely. So pretty much we are here to share about the islands of the Bahamas, the unique destination that we have with all of our travel advisors and partners here in the United States of America. And of course, more focus for myself is for the Northeast region. So for us to get the word out there, whether it's at various consumer shows, travel advisors, specific shows, trade shows, one-on-ones, conducting fam trips, and so much more to just make sure that our presence is known and felt here in the U.S.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. And thank you for being here and for sitting with me today to give us a little bit of experience on the Bahamas.
Absolutely.
So the Bahamas, as I know it, I actually really enjoyed the island, and it's a beautiful island of sun, sand, and sea. And I was fortunate enough to experience 2 resorts during my trip. So for travelers who are not familiar with the Bahamas, can you tell us a little bit about the islands?
Yeah, so the islands of the Bahamas, a lot of people, when you say the Bahamas, they think of Nassau only, which is like our main city.
Mm-hmm.
And it's on the island of New Providence, but you'll know people say Nassau, and they're like, "Oh, I've been to the Bahamas. I've been to Nassau," but what they don't realize is that there are so many other islands in the Bahamas to visit. We are a destination of 700 islands, 2,000 keys, and we have 16 major islands that people can go to and actually stay on. You can visit all the other islands, but 16 main islands that one can come to, stay on, and that are resorts or bed and breakfasts and places to stay and activities that visitors can come and enjoy whilst they are there.
Wonderful. Is there an island that's more popular than the others?
Well, mostly everyone knows about Nassau, and then you'll hear people talk about Freeport, Grand Bahama Island, which is like our second city. But the secret is getting out, and people are learning and discovering about all of the other islands, including Exuma, Eleuthera, because we're an archipelago of, all these islands spread across 100,000 square miles across the Atlantic Ocean. So when people now, I think more so now, people are becoming more familiar with the outer islands, as we call it.
Uh-huh.
Locally, we say our family islands, but as we promote the destination, we say our outer islands. So people are definitely becoming more familiar with them because they want something that's off the beaten path, and they want something more, they want something different than a lot of the mega resorts that you may experience more so in Nassau. So as you get to some of the more frequented outer islands like Exuma and Eleuthera, with and Abaco and Harbor Island, those islands, like where some of the larger airline carriers also fly into, people know about those ones and they frequent those ones more. But as you get more to the more southern outer islands of the Bahamas,
Mm-hmm.
which are less frequented by visitors because there's less air traffic going there as far as the larger airline carriers, but you can get to any of them through our local carriers. But
Okay.
as you get to those ones, they're a little bit even more off the beaten path.
Okay.
So there's things to get into, but it's more of that you really just want to lay on a beach by yourself
Agreed.
and not be disturbed kind of atmosphere.
Agreed. Where is Bahamas located in the Caribbean?
So we are 50, about the closest island, I would say, in the Bahamas to the United States of America is Bimini.
Okay.
So Bimini is 50 miles about off the coast of Florida. And that is the closest island in the Bahamas to the United States. Then you have Grand Bahama Island, Freeport, Grand Bahama. Some may know it more as Freeport. That's like the second major island, because it's our second city, we call it. But that's the second major island that's closest to the United States of America.
Okay. And do you have nonstop flights that fly into the Bahamas?
Absolutely. So there are nonstop flights that go into Nassau mainly, but to all of the other islands, you may have to take a connecting flight. So if you're going to Freeport, you may have to take a connecting flight in Florida. Or you can take a ferry, actually. They have a ferry that goes there. Valeria Ferry Services goes to Freeport from the Florida area, and different airline carriers go there. If you're going to Exuma, Delta, American Airlines, and Silver Airways all fly through there. Delta connects in Atlanta, American and Silver Airways connects in Florida, going into Exuma. If it's Eleuthera, American and Delta, once this whole series of the COVID-19 has cleared up, we'll know exactly how airlines are positioning themselves to get back out there and their scheduling. But typically you have American Airlines and Delta that flew into Eleuthera as well. And also Bimini, you have ferry that goes into there from Florida as well. And then you also have, I believe it's Silver Airways also goes into Bimini as well.
Good to know. And
So yeah,
for something like that,
private charters that go into, of
right,
course,
right.
for that clientele.
Yes, exactly. Now, in reference to intermixing your itineraries, so if you stayed on NASA for a few days and then you wanted to go to Exuma and kind of relax and enjoy and swim with the pigs, how can you get there?
So Exuma is one of those more frequented islands where Delta flies into there and American Airlines. So Delta does connect depending on where you're coming from. Through Atlanta, you can, if you're one of those people like, I have to get on a larger airline carrier, you would have to connect through Delta through Atlanta, or American or Silver Airways in Florida. And then you can, or if you're going into Nassau, you can connect through Bahamas Air or when any of the other local airline carriers that frequent going there pretty much on a daily basis, twice a day, most of them. Yeah.
Wonderful. And there's
and
so
that's
much
for all of the outer islands. You can
Okay.
get any outer island in the Bahamas through one of our local carriers.
Wonderful.
So they all go there.
Wonderful. That's great information. Now, there's so much to do on the islands of the Bahamas. What are some of the activities that you have for guests?
So depending on which island you're going to, the activities vary. So Nassau is the type of place where you may have more of the nightlife, the casino life, lots of activities to get into, but You can also take day trips
Mm-hmm.
or an adventure to one of the outer keys on a speedboat, even to the Exumas. Some people they want to see the celebrity swimming pigs. So they will take a speedboat adventure trip and a day trip to the Exumas and come back, or even to Eleuthera. There's a fast ferry that goes there to Harbor Island, and it's about 2.5 to 3 hours on that ferry ride, or you can take a 20-minute, 30-minute plane ride there
Yeah.
and stay for the day and come back that evening, or stay a couple days. But so Nassau is one type of experience, and then you get to, when you say the adventures, we have so many islands, Gurvy, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Each adventure on the various islands will be varied because each island has their own personality and they're known for something different. So it would take, I just did earlier today a webinar on the out islands, highlighting the differences between them and their personalities. So for example, a place like Cat Island, which was the childhood boy home of Sir Cindy Poitier.
Okay.
And that island is so rich in history and culture. It's actually on that island where you will find the highest point in the Bahamas. And
Yeah.
it's called Mount Alvernia, or AKA Como Hill. And it's 206 feet high, a
Wow.
whooping 206 feet. But
Wow.
that's something that people love to go to and just hike up and see. And at the top, there's a hermitage that was
Mm.
hand built and carved back in the day by a monk. I don't want to get his name wrong, but he moved there and hand carved a hermitage there, and it's still in place. I
Hmm.
actually visited it last year, October, and it's so beautiful, so serene, climbing up, hiking up at the top there and coming to this hermitage that he found his peace and serenity to way back in the day. I believe that was like early 1900s or
Yeah,
something.
it's gotta be.
Um,
Wow.
yeah, and then the other outer islands are off the beaten path experiences, like Andros. Andros is the
Mm-hmm.
largest island in the Bahamas, and it has the third largest reef barrier in the world there. And so a lot of snorkelers and divers frequent there, and they love to see the ecological wonders that are there. And that's an island that's really for that um, nature adventure traveler
Right.
who loves the beauty and flora and fauna and blue holes, because
Mm.
Andros is like separated into three parts: north, central, and the south. And
Right.
there's a blue hole in each part of those
Oh,
islands. And
gorgeous.
yeah, and then you have Long Island. We have our own Long Island in the Bahamas, and it has the largest saltwater blue hole in the world.
These
And
are great facts.
Right. So National Geographic goes there every year and does a free dive there. And,
Ah,
it's those kind of things where you have to know what your client wants, what they're interested in, to see how you best appeal to them. At this time, some people may not be interested in all the casinos and, maybe too much nightlife or clubbing and stuff like that. They may want to go to a more secluded island where they can be on the beach more to themselves, or just with their families, and want to reconnect in they may feel safer in that kind of atmosphere.
great point. Great
Yeah.
point. Great point. You've kind of inspired me of different things that you can do on the islands of Bahamas. And I know that you have a special video that you want to share with us.
Yeah,
Did you want to kind of let us dream a little bit and share that with us?
absolutely. And because we've been talking about it, you're going to feel it and taste it more as you see it.
Looking
And
forward to it.
yes, and before I get into it, some of the different islands,
Hmm.
the Exumas is a chain of 365 islands.
Okay.
So we say that you can visit an island every day of
Every
the
day.
year with
Yep.
the iguanas. So going there is like that kind of experience, being able to explore, feel like you're somewhere else each day. Um, Eleuthera, similarly, several keys and islands around. So you're there, but you can take a boat excursion and go somewhere else, go to Harbor Island and go on the pink sand beach, go to Spanish
Mm.
Wells, take some tours around the nearby keys where there are literally sandbars in the middle of the ocean.
Wow.
And the Abacos, similarly, chain of islands, and all these other islands, you know, have different keys around. So it creates a more of an interesting adventure than
Right.
just being on one island with uh, one experience,
Right.
or experiences that someone may be typically used to. You know,
Yes.
they're getting in touch in a different way.
Right.
So now that we've talked a little bit about it, let me just share that with you.
Okay. Looking forward to it. Wow. The
Mhm.
hues of the blue and the sandbars, and it just makes you want to dive in.
Right.
So,
And I'll leave that screen up until I
yeah,
show
this is
you next.
gorgeous. So,
It's
people are
blue.
eager and people do want to travel again. How is Bahamas managing through the current crisis? And what are they doing to get ready with some of the health and safety protocols, whether it be arrival at the airport or some of the resorts themselves?
So during this time, we are definitely making use of the time to stay current, see what are the regulations and what will be the new standards for people to be safe in our destination. And so all of the hotels, all of the airports, right now we're just getting on board for our open date to make sure we have all the resources in place that everyone who comes in feels safe, and they're following, of course, the protocols and standards by the World Health Organization or any organization out there that is deemed the one that we should follow the standards by. So our prime minister has taken that very serious. He has pushed back the dates for opening
Okay.
just to make sure that we have everything and that every hotel line is falling in place to have everything that they need ready for our opening date, which right now is scheduled for July 1st.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, so he's just very particular in making sure, rightfully so, that we
Yes.
are ready in the right way to make sure everyone feels safe and welcomed when they come to our shores.
Agreed. Excellent. So the pandemic, as we all know, has allowed for so many lessons.
Mhm.
And one of the lessons is how clients who have booked with a travel agent and have had the agent as an advocate to institute cancellations or rebookings and navigate through all of that. In your thoughts, why should guests actually book with a travel advisor?
I think during this time, more so than ever, we've seen how travel advisors have become so important and valuable and made it easy for those who were traveling to different places to reschedule, and versus, you know, having to go on an online site where millions of people have been booking and trying to get through to that 1-800 number or to that email. Most of the time you have that personal relationship with the travel agent or that travel advisor, And so I think more so more than ever, people are like, oh, I wish I had, you know, did this through a travel advisor, because they're able to take care of everything for you. And it's
Right.
not, it's less stress off of you
Mhm.
having to go and try and find someone who you don't know their name to
Absolutely.
make
I
that reschedule, that booking, that so forth. And a travel advisor knows the ins and outs with the insurance, how to rebook, how to reschedule, the connections on property, on site, and with even with us, with the tourist boards, to
right.
see if they can't get in touch with someone who we can connect you to get in touch with specifically and directly. So I
Excellent. I
think more so
couldn't.
more than ever, we see the value in travel advisors, and people will too.
Well, I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you, Crystal. So I
Absolutely.
know that you have another little surprise video to share with us.
Yeah,
Would you like to go ahead and share that with us now?
absolutely. There's so much going on, and as we, I know, as we go through this time, the Bahamas is patiently waiting, and we're so in love with our visitors and our everyone who shows us love during the times when we've even needed the support and so forth, through when we had our hurricanes and so
Yeah.
forth. We had a hurricane that hit two of our major islands badly, which are, might I say, doing really well, slowly but surely getting back on stage and back to the world with sharing what they have to offer. And so we just want to show our support during this time. Um, and those two islands, by the way, because some people thought during that time, which was Hurricane Dorian, that the entire Bahamas was wiped out, you know,
Mhm.
and we had to get the message out there and the word out there. No, it was two of our major islands, Grand Bahama Island and Abaco, that were significantly impacted. But Grand Bahama Island, a lot of where the tourists and visitors come to wasn't impacted. It was unfortunately a lot of where the locals lived. So we definitely needed more than ever people to come and visit us
Mhm.
and to support us in that way. And you have American Airlines, and a lot of the airlines have started flying back into there, and the ferry services have started going back already into Grand Bahama Island. Also, similarly, Abaco, they're getting back. They're getting back on stream, a little more slower than Grand Bahama Island, but they're getting back there. So it's just important to know that we have all these islands in the Bahamas, and because something happens to one, it doesn't mean that something happened to all of them, you know?
Great. That's really good to know because you're right.
Absolutely.
You see it differently otherwise.
Hmm.
Good to know.
So, in light of what's happening now, I'm going to share this video. It shows how much we are with our travel partners and advisors.
Excellent.
I'm hoping you can see it.
We could see the water. It's
The
coming.
blue water. Okay,
Yep.
great.
At times like these, we're all reminded that storms come and storms go. And what matters the most is that we come together as one. You were there for us, and when the storm passes, we will be here for you.
Love it. Love
Yeah.
it. Oh, again, just gives me chills. It was really
I know.
nice.
I'm so ready to go home. I'm
Oh,
I'm
we're
so
ready to go with you. So, Crystal, I just wanted to say thank you so much for chatting with me today. I really enjoyed meeting you and experiencing Bahamas and learning so much more about it.
Yes, and please to let everyone know, if you go to Bahamas.com, You can find out all this information and even more details about each and every island in the Bahamas, what to do, where to stay, where to eat, who to meet, everything
Ex-
while you're there. So go to bahamas.com, www.bahamas.com, find out the latest and even bahamas.com/COVID-19 statement. And you can find out the latest even on what we're doing there to make sure that we're prepared and ready to welcome you.
Perfect. And stay in touch with me. So when you do open your borders, I can let everybody know.
Yes. Thank
All
you so
right.
much for
Thank
having
you.
me.
Of course.